Welcome to Beacon of Speech. I'm Fred Hunt. Across the table from me is Ted Coley. Hi, Ted Coley.
Hello, Fred.
Ted Coley, earlier this week was one of the most contentious elections in our lifetime. Okay? Maybe only Carter Reagan was less contagious.
Contagious?
Yeah, less contagious. Contentious. I am going to read what I wrote for the first 15 shows, and I'm going to re-emphasize what Beacon of Speech is. What is Beacon of Speech about? And I have the sheet of paper in my hand. Selling freedom of speech to everyone. If I had a copy of the First Amendment, I would read it out loud. Free speech is under constant assault in America today. The problem is it's coming from Free speech is under constant assault in America today. The problem is it's coming from two places that's very hard to fight. From the left, political correctness, and from the right, corporations. Well, guess what? We just elected a CEO of a corporation.
It's almost like we're rededicating the show. It's almost like we're kicking it off again.
Yes.
Because you haven't read that in a while.
I haven't read it since about show 15. The concept that we are all in this together is lost in America. America is supposed to lead by example, not force its will on other countries. What are limits to free speech? Pure evil. Evil is debatable, pure evil is absolute. Like it or not, a lot of the Constitution is based on vague Christian principles. There is a God, just unclear over which religious entities have the correct message. I'm putting it down. This is why I'm so angry. The spirit of we are in this together is totally and 100% out the window. Would you say that's fair, Ted Coley?
Yeah, probably.
Now, we are going to come back. I voted for Gary Johnson. I predicted a Hillary Clinton win. Ted voted for Donald Trump, and he predicted a Donald Trump win, which shows you that Ted is smarter than I am, just flat out. Now, in my own defense, why was I wrong? Because I thought I was smart and I read 20 different websites that said Hillary Clinton was going to win. And if I sound angry, it's because I am angry. I'm angry at the right. I'm angry at the left. I'm angry at the people who didn't vote for Gary Johnson. I'm angry at the people who didn't vote for Jill Stein. And I'm angry that...
At the people who didn't vote.
And I'm angry at the people who didn't vote.
So you're angry at everyone.
Everybody except for the 3% who also voted for Gary Johnson. They're okay. They escaped my wrath. This is probably the most angry I've been starting a Beacon of Speech. Now, Ted Coley, on the other hand, is happy. This might be the happiest he's ever been because Ted, I learned this at work, Ted is never wrong. Ted, whenever you do his route, it was like clockwork. He was awesome. He did a great job of doing his job. Now, Ted Coley, what did you get for doing a great job at your job? What do you get?
I get to keep my job up till now.
Yes, you get to keep...
But that could change tomorrow.
So your reward has been you have not lost your job. So basically by doing a great job, you have won keeping your job. Congratulations, you got to keep your job.
Thank you.
Now, we are going to come back to the election in a minute because all the piss and vinegar in my voice. Me and you had a prediction show in, was it September or was it in August?
I would think it was in September, but I'm not 100% sure.
On that prediction show, I frantically wrote down 40 predictions. Okay?
Now, I'm pretty sure it was in September.
Now, we're going to start today, and we're just going to start knocking off predictions because we have 6 of them coming up.
Don't you have it written down somewhere when those predictions happened?
Yeah, I haven't opened them up yet. But I think
it might have been like the first Browns game, whenever that was.
You mean before they were 0-10?
Yeah.
Yeah, before they sucked. Yeah, they're like the NFL of... They're like the political The equivalent of politics today. Okay. World Series prediction show. In September. No, first game would have been Labor Day. Right?
Yeah, it might have been September 11th, wasn't it?
Yes, I think it was. Fred Hunt, yes, it was September 11th. Fred Hunt predicted the Toronto Blue Jays versus the Chicago Cubs in the World Series. At the time, the Cubs were right outside of the wild card, and the Cubs had the best record in the league. Fred said the Cubs would win the World Series, but the Indians would win the Central.
You said the Cubs would win, 4-2, or didn't you specify?
I just put the Cubs. Ted Coley, again, why Ted Coley is always right, he did Indians versus Cubs. Oh, you know what? I specified on the bottom. I put Cubs in 5.
Ooh.
Yes. And then you said Indians and Cubs, and you said, what was your prediction?
I believe I said the Cubs would win in 7 games.
That is correct. You said Cubs in 7. Now, you were 1 inning off. You nailed the American League team. You nailed the National League team. You nailed 7 games. The only thing you were wrong about is at the end of the 7th game, it was still tied. Now, you cannot come any closer to being right when you are wrong. So you were mostly right. But sadly, you were wrong at the end of the day. Now,
one thing I do want to say, though, is that in order for me to be right about the Browns record, they're going to have to go 5-1 in their latest 6 games.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
So
now, the reason I bring up how close you were is on Saturday Night Live and my father-in-law, the both of them pointed it out. Hillary Clinton won the popular vote, but she lost the Electoral College. So they pointed out that for all the people who want to change the Electoral College, which I'm sure we'll get into inevitably, right? The Indians and the Cubs both scored 27 runs. At the end of the 7th game, they were tied, right? So people are saying the Cubs are not our World Series team. Okay, some people are out saying the Indians are our team because they were tied, and if it wasn't for the rain delay, if it wasn't for this or that or brickety brack, that the Indians would be champions. And they're trying to equate it to the election. Now, you are not one of those people. You are not saying the Indians are your champion, are you?
well, no.
You had to think about it.
Now, are you saying that total in the series, each team scored 27 runs,
Yeah.
or
Yeah, going into the extra innings, they had both scored 27 runs. They both won 3 games.
okay?
They were both
Because
tied
at the
going
end
into
of
the 9.
at the end of 9 innings, it was 6-6.
Yeah, and then the Cubs outscored them in the 10th 2-1.
Right. So basically, the Cubs at the end of the whole series, they were 1 run up.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so how is that? How are people disputing that then?
Because it's just like the and that's the whole thing. It's supposed to be, they're saying it like comically. Like, what would happen if the Indians said, the Cubs are not our team, we were tied, and it's like, yeah, it's not a perfect analogy. And like I said, he wasn't, my father-in-law, he wasn't being serious. He was making a joke about it. He put a meme up that, the Indians that said, not the Cubs are not my World Series team. So, but yes, you were within 1 run of being right. I was flat out wrong, but in my defense, Toronto did meet the Indians. I think me and you did actually predicted pretty close to what did happen. But at the end of the day, we were slightly wrong. I was mostly wrong. You were slightly wrong. Okay, now, here's one. I'm going to write this one down. I'm going to save this. You were wrong.
Uh-oh.
Okay, you ready?
Yes.
This was to be open November 9th. The stock market, after the presidential election, I predicted a 500-point crash. You predicted...
I don't even remember what I predicted on this one.
You predicted nominally lower. You put slightly lower.
Slightly lower.
Now, the overnight markets, when Donald Trump won, took a plunge.
Yep.
But the Dow Jones actually went up to the highest level in history. Now, it didn't go up 2,000 points.
Mm-hmm.
Obama got it within 0.1%, and then Trump getting nominated pushed it to a record. But I was way wrong, okay? Because I thought Hillary was going to win. And you said nominally lower, and we will get back into your predictions. So you said slightly lower. I put 500-point crash. So again, you were more right than me. Damn it. I feel like if this was a game, I would be losing. So now I'm even more in a more foul mood, which shows that I don't have my finger on the pulse of America. Oh, jeez.
There was like, the whole show was predictions.
The whole show was
That's
predictions.
what this is from, right?
Yep, the whole show was predictions. We said before the Brown season started that after 8 games, I said the Browns would be 2-6, and Josh McCown would be the quarterback. The reason being RG3 would get hurt. Ted Coley said 2-6 after 8 games, McCown would be the quarterback, RG3 would get hurt. We had the same exact predictions. The only way that we were different, right, is we weren't different at all. The only reason I wrote it down is because Sports Illustrated said in their prediction episode that the Browns were going to be 1-15. And I said there's no way they're going to be 1-15. Now, what are the Browns?
They are 0-10, right?
They are 0-10, which means Sports Illustrated was right and me and you were wrong. That's what you get for listening to me. But in our defense, McCown would be starting if they didn't go through 5 quarterbacks. He did play the last game, so we were close. 2-6 versus 0-8 is not that much different. So again, we are slightly wrong. We kind of had our pulse on it, but Sports Illustrated was closer. Prediction number 4. General election winner. Okay. Dun, 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 dun. Okay. My prediction was there will be a dead heat in the polls on September 11th. Or on Election Day, I'm sorry. Right now, let me get this straight. On September 11th, there was a dead heat in the polls, okay? I said that it would still be close, but Hillary would win the election. Then, after she won the election, she would die of natural causes within 6 months, okay? We don't know if that's
to be determined.
To be determined. I predicted Electoral College 320 to 215 to 3. I thought Gary Johnson was going to win New Mexico. I was 110% wrong. Ted Coley said you wanted Trump. Trump would win in an upset. He would win by 1 million votes. And he would win the Electoral College by 3 votes. Now, you were slightly wrong. I was way wrong. Trump lost the popular vote, but he won the Electoral College. He did not win by 3. He won by, they're still counting Michigan. If he wins Michigan like they think he's going to win, he'll have won by 80, which is not even close.
Oh, wow. Michigan is this,
They're still recounting Michigan.
There's only one state that's still out then?
Yeah, because New Hampshire went to Clinton.
The last thing I heard, I think it was 290 to 228.
290 to 228. Yeah, so that's 70-some. 290 to 228. That's 60-some. Michigan will push it up to 80. because they 100% of the votes are in, and Michigan went to Trump, but they don't want to announce it because they're recounting it. I guess there's a state law if you're within 0.5%, it's a mandatory recount or something.
Did they decide on like New Hampshire?
Yes, that did go to Clinton.
That went to Hillary.
But it doesn't matter. It's like 3 electoral votes.
And I assume Minnesota went to Clinton.
Yes.
Okay, because I'm trying to think of the states that were like still out. The last thing I heard.
Arizona
went to Trump, I believe.
Correct. So Michigan was the last state. And again, there's no rush to hurry up and vote. He won no matter what. He's got 278 or whatever it is.
Another thing I wanted to ask you, Washington, D.C. does not have electoral votes, right?
No, it does. I think it has 3.
Okay. Because that's something that's... My stepdad asked me that last night. He said, they don't have it. I said, I think they do. Have electoral votes. But I don't know.
Now,
that's something that I've never been clear on.
Let me ask you a question. I'm being dead serious. Why do I always do predictions? Number one is for
to make us look bad.
Number one is for the entertainment value, okay? Because it's funny to see when you're right and wrong, and I'm all pissed off and stuff. But it's still funny when I'm wrong. It's good radio. You can make fun of me. I can make fun of you. I don't make fun of you because you're always right.
Well, the funny thing is, and I told you this before, all these talk show hosts, none of them would make a prediction on the election.
Nope.
At least we had the balls to make a prediction.
Yeah, and like I said, you were mostly right. You were slightly off on the numbers, but at the end of the day, you said Trump was going to win, and he was going to pull it out, and he was going to pull it out in the Electoral College.
Well, you also said that Michael Moore was right, too.
Well, yeah, that's true. Michael Moore.
So are you going to have him on the show then?
I would love to have Michael Moore on the show. Again, I'm going to say this. I am not a far left winger, okay? But one of the best documentaries ever made in the history of America, not like in the last 5 years, 10 years, in the history of America is the
Blasphemers.
That is not a documentary. One of the greatest documentaries ever made in the history of the world is Roger and Me by Michael Moore.
It's about GM.
And it's the story about how GM gutted Flint, Michigan, and Michael Moore nailed it. 100% nailed it the way it is. Now, after that, Michael Moore, in my heart, and maybe I'm wrong, because as you hear in my predictions, I think in Michael Moore's heart, when that was made, he wanted to do what was best for the country. He wanted to show how his hometown of Flint, Michigan got screwed, right? And
that's where he's from? Flint, Michigan?
Yes. And he wanted, his dad, I believe, if I remember Roger and Me correctly, his dad worked at GM. And, they used to have the parades, and GM was, part of the fabric of the town. And Roger and Michael Moore's theory is that GM basically killed the town and they weren't held responsible for it. What is your responsibility to the town that you are in? You see what I mean? And his theory was basically that GM was all about money and killing the town didn't matter. He said if it was one thing if GM went bankrupt and went out of business, it can't be helped. It was basically they bled Flint dry and then went away. And in America, you should be part of the community, right? Now, since he made that movie, I think he took a hard left turn to the left and then got preachy and went over the top. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But that first Roger and Me movie, that was excellent. Well, I mean, there weren't any more Roger and Me movies, but he made more documentaries where he got more preachy and heavy-handed. If you get a chance, you should watch Roger and Me. Ted shaking his head.
Roger and Me. I've heard of it.
Well, right now it's 25 years old. It's from 1989, I want to say.
Now, do you think Gretchen Carlson from Fox will make her own Roger and Me? What is it, Roger Ailes?
She might. Well, that's the whole thing. This whole election has been so nasty and dirty. And, again, Michael Moore today, literally, as me and you are talking, Michael Moore is protesting outside the Trump Tower. He wants Donald Trump impeached already. Right? And again, I did not like Trump. Okay? And I've said this on Beacon of Speech at least.
I could see him hollering for impeachment once Trump is in office.
Yeah.
But what's his basis for impeaching him now? He isn't even president.
I don't know.
Impeach somebody who's not president?
I don't think so. And that's why he's heavy-handed. He moved too far to the left. But I remember reading, and I wrote it on our blog, okay? The day before the election, me and you are going to talk about this. They picked 15 different polling sites, like CNN polling, ABC polling, all these left-wing polling things, and they had Hillary winning out of the 15 sites, okay? 14 of them had Hillary winning between 2 to 6% of the vote.
Yeah, it was about an average of 4, I think.
Right, and they had her winning the Electoral College between 290 and 350 electoral votes. I read all 15 sites on election night. One of them said it was going to be a statistical tie, and it depended on how the swing states went. Nobody picked Trump winning, just flat out winning. No one. Okay? I woke up the next morning, I was stunned that Trump won. Not because of what I thought, because of everything I read. I mean, 15 different sites that poured millions of dollars into polling were wrong. Okay? Now, was their polling that wrong, or were they trying to steer the opinion? You see what I'm saying? Now, and that's the thing. When I did it the next day, I was going to post all the people who were wrong. I went back into the browser history, and I went back to all those sites. And guess what? And this is why I wrote on the blog, all the sites were either page not found or page updated. They were all erased. Right?
Like the Soviet Union.
Yeah, but we weren't wrong. And I just read an article today, the website 538. They said, yeah, we were wrong, but out of the 10 other sites that we compare ourselves to, we were the least wrong. Okay?
So they're actually like erasing history. And then if you make a big deal out of it, they'll probably try to make you think that you're crazy. And maybe we should put you in a hospital, Fred. Yeah. Because you're remembering things that didn't happen. Yeah.
And again, I can't beat this into the ground enough. Just because Donald Trump wasn't a moron, or just because Donald Trump is a moron, doesn't mean that he wasn't right. I remember listening to the radio the day of 9/11, and there were hundreds of people cheering when the planes flew into the Twin Towers. The left-wing media said it never happened. I'm telling you it did happen. The question was semantics, okay? Donald Trump said
these people cheering were in New York?
Yes.
Okay.
Donald Trump says it was hundreds of thousands, okay? Now, I don't remember.
Or thousands.
I thought he said thousands.
Yeah.
But they reported he said hundreds of thousands. And again, I don't know whether it was 20. I don't know whether it was 30. I don't know whether it was 2,000. It happened. So again, just because he's an idiot doesn't mean it didn't happen. And it's the same thing with the polling. Donald Trump came out and said, our internal polls show we're doing good. Right? Oh, well, Donald Trump is crazy. Well, he was right. Everybody else was wrong, and then they erased it and said, well, we weren't that wrong. And the New York Times said they were going to, just this week, the New York Times said they were going to refocus on not being biased. Well, maybe you should have done that before the election.
Yeah, I know. I heard that, and I'm thinking to myself, they They knew what they were doing.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're gonna refocus. It's like,
but again, when you listen to Beacon,
it's one of those things. It's because they got caught that now they're gonna they're saying they're gonna do the right thing.
Yeah. Our internal polls. Instead of spending $1 million on polls, we gave it to bonuses for the executives, and we made it up, and we just did an ABC CBS average. I don't know what happened. And even, Michael Moore came out and said whoever was in charge of the polling, who put Hillary Clinton up by 6% and winning 350 electoral votes, should be fired. Okay? Now, it goes back to me and you are, at the end of the day, we're just dumb webcasters. How much do I pay you, Ted Coley?
Nothing.
And how much do you
really
pay
starting
me?
To get on my nerves.
And how much do you pay me?
Nothing.
Okay.
Now, one of the questions that I had for you, and I don't know if you're going to know this, but in the 2012 election, they said there was one poll that was dead on.
Right.
Do you remember what it was? It was some like Investors Business Daily or something like.
I thought it was. I thought it was like. It was an investing site.
Okay.
It wasn't CNN. It wasn't ABC.
Well, the question that I have, I know that. I can't remember who exactly
it was. An obscure site, and it was a business site.
Okay. The question I have is, the one poll that got the closest for this election, was it the same?
No.
It was a different one?
No, it was a different one. But I wish I took a screenshot because I remember looking at it. I remember going, I can go to bed because Hillary won. I'm not staying up late and then falling asleep at work. You see what I'm saying? And then they're like, oh, well, our polls, they were marginalized by the angry Trump voter who is ashamed to admit that they were voting for Trump.
And why are they ashamed to admit they're voting for Trump?
Because of the left-wing media who would harass them.
Because of the same damn people who make the polls.
Right. And so that's, again, it's the chicken or egg. Which came first, the chicken or the egg? Well, which came first? The people lying about the polls because they were afraid to get harassed? Or, you see what I'm saying? Because, and you're exactly right. But again, there is no hard copy for most of it. I think the one that I saw that was still up was the LA Times one. And they said, I think...
They all along were saying that Trump was going to win.
You know what? Now that you mention it, I think the LA Times might have been the one that was the statistical dead heat, and they wouldn't call it. Because there was one...
Yeah, because
and me and you have heard of the LA Times. I don't quote me on it, but I think it was the one website out of the 15 that was, again, close to right.
Yeah, because, for a while, they were saying that Trump was up by 2.
Right.
Up until the last
and
week
I
or
noticed
two.
when I went back into the browser history, and, page not found's coming up, page updated. The one place that didn't was LA Times, and I kept thinking to myself, did they not erase their stuff because they were closest to right, or did they not have enough people to erase their old website? You see what I'm saying? But yes, you are right. The LA Times was doing good, and I'm not saying good or bad. I'm saying they were the closest to right from what I remember off the top of my head.
No, and maybe I'm just jumping to conclusions, but I would assume that the LA Times, is that a conservative?
I don't think so, no.
I would assume that they're, if anything, they're left.
Yes. But they're not an institutional, like
the New York Times.
Yeah, like the New York Times, 250 years of printing, the truth, air quotes. I think the LA Times is fairly new. I don't think they have the gravitas of other newspapers or stations, cable stations. But then, whenever I go off on this rant, people are like, you love Trump. I'm like, I hate Trump. Just because he's and I'm going to say it 100 times. It's like me and you are back at work together. Just because he's an idiot doesn't mean he's wrong. And that's what drives me so crazy. I've written it on the website at least 3 times where he's been spot on right. And we've talked about it on the show, how he's been spot on right, but that doesn't mean that I would vote for him.
Well, it's like I told you, and I wish I had the concrete numbers in front of me. I'm just going by little things that I've gathered, talking to people, talking to you while you're looking stuff up on the internet.
Right.
That it appears that Trump got roughly the same amount of popular votes that both Romney and McCain got.
Yes.
They all got right around 60 million.
Yep. Yes.
The difference is that Obama, I think you said he got 70 million in 2008 and 65 in
Something
2012.
like that, yeah.
And Hillary got around 60.
Yeah, I think it was 59.8 and 59.6 were the 2 numbers.
Right. So, all these people, and keep in mind, I voted for Trump, and I'm glad that he won, but at the same time, I'm listening to all these people, Republicans, who are saying, he kicked her ass or whatever.
No.
That's not true.
No, he didn't.
They're saying landslide, they're saying this. It's not true.
No. And that's
because if my thing is that he did just about as well as Romney and McCain.
Yes.
The difference is the Democrats had a candidate that wasn't as attractive and didn't inspire people as much as Obama.
Right. And Obama, so whether you like him or not.
Right, whether you like him or not. I'm not saying that he inspires me. I'm saying he inspired more people than Hillary did.
Obama reads from the teleprompter. He is well-spoken. He's a good-looking guy. I'm not saying I want to date Obama, but I'm saying the optics are good for Obama. He's a good-looking guy, well-spoken. He's very, I don't know. I don't know what the word I'm looking for is.
And another thing is that I think in general, when Obama was campaigning, his message was generally positive.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Hillary's was generally negative.
Yeah.
The majority of her argument was Trump's a scumbag.
Yeah.
That may or may not be true, but who can get fired up about it? You know what I mean? That doesn't inspire people.
Last night on Saturday Night Live, I'll steal something from Dave Chappelle. You know who Dave Chappelle is?
Yeah.
Dave Chappelle said, they wonder why the turnout wasn't as good for Hillary as it was for Obama. And Dave Chappelle said, I wonder. A good-looking, well-spoken guy who presents himself in a good way, who basically oozes isn't the right word, but he projects hope and promise, and he's got a good projection. He goes, people want to vote for that guy as opposed to a 70-year-old white woman who could barely get in a van a week before Election Day.
See, what I'm getting at is all these people who are crowing about Trump winning.
Yeah.
If Trump ran against Obama, if Obama was allowed to run for a third term, I think Obama would have beat him.
I think Obama would have beat him too.
So in other words, it wasn't Trump who, I don't know.
I think what Trump, again...
And like you said, people listening to me make this argument are probably thinking, you wanted Clinton then. Yeah. No, I'm being realistic.
Yeah. And that's the whole thing. Everybody's, you don't understand how bad Hillary is. You don't understand how bad Trump is. I think they're both horrible. Things are really messed up. That was the 2 choices you came up with. And then I wrote on Beacon of Speech, the blog, Ted, and you'll enjoy this. After Hillary lost, a whole bunch of Democrats came out and said she lost because of Gary Johnson, which made me basically irate. And I went on there and said, screw you guys.
So did Gary Johnson give a concession speech?
I think his concession speech was about 2 weeks ahead of time. But
no, has anybody heard from him?
No, they said that he's been laying low because him and Jill Stein got death threats after Clinton lost, and she lost because of, the margin of error in these states is because the third parties are in there. And I'm like, Gary Johnson was polling at 11% at the end of the summer, and he got 3%. Where did that 8% go? It didn't all go to Donald Trump.
That's another. We both made predictions on the percentage he would end up with, and I think we were both way off on that.
Yeah, but like I said, you've been spot on almost everything. You've been slightly off. And like I said...
like I said, this Gary Johnson thing, if that's... I'm pretty sure we made a prediction on that, and I know I was way off.
But you, again, on the Electoral College, you were on... I'm not... I work during the week. You work during the week. I get my news sources from the left and from the right. I go on The Blaze, I go on Fox News, I go on Drudge Report, and then on the other side I go to Huffington Post, I go to Daily Beast, I go to CNN, I go to USA Today. USA Today took the unprecedented step. They never endorse anybody, and this year they said, just don't vote for Trump. Okay? So it's not like, from all the sites I was reading on the left and right, everybody's saying Hillary's going to win, and the ones on the right were like, well, we're hoping that it's close. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And even Rush Limbaugh said, don't underestimate how pissed off people were from the right. And Michael Moore on the left said, don't underestimate how pissed off people are. And they were both spot on from different angles.
Yeah, but my argument even against that is that, okay, people are pissed off, but then why didn't Trump get more votes than either Romney or McCain?
Well, exactly.
So there is no difference there. The difference is on the other side.
Right.
So people on the Republican side must have been just as pissed off in 2008 and 2012.
Well, I think...
Wouldn't you think?
Yes, I think...
Judging by the numbers.
Yes, and I would agree, and I want to step into that too.
And if anything, Trump should have gotten more than them just by we're 4 or 8 years further into the future, so you have more people.
Yeah.
Theoretically, anyway.
I'm going to throw this back at you, though. When Obama won the first term, right, people were pissed off because McCain lost and he wasn't far enough to the right. Would you say that's fair?
Yeah.
Then Romney lost, and people were pissed off because he wasn't far enough to the right. If we only had a right-wing candidate, we would have won if we didn't put up a moderate Republican, right? So I honestly think that the level of being pissed off is the same on the right that it has been for this last 2 elections. I would say that you're right. Okay? Again, even when you're wrong, you're degrees of wrong. You know what I mean? Whereas I was dead wrong. Okay? But I would say for the last 3 elections, the right has been pissed off. I agree with that. I think...
I mean, it just seems like the right, or Republicans, or whatever you want to call it, their numbers have been flat over the last
3 elections.
10, 12 years.
Yes.
The left, or Democrats, they've been fluctuating. I mean, from big to, mediocre.
They could not get out the vote. They could not get the Hillary Clintons. And some Republicans, because Trump is not on the right, he's a businessman. Again, I'll steal a line from Rush Limbaugh. He's not an ideologue, right? Donald Trump is a businessman, right? So he stole some people from the left and some people from the right, jumped over to vote for Clinton, anybody but Trump people. The problem is that when it's hard to vote, let me rephrase it. I vote for Gary Johnson. Okay, I don't vote against people anymore. I used to vote against people. I don't. I vote for Gary Johnson. This election was filled with people voting against people. And it's hard to get energized about voting against somebody. You want to vote for somebody. This is America, the greatest world nation on earth, blah, blah, blah. Right? And when you find out all the dirty pool that they both played, like, let me give you an example. After they were elected, after Trump was elected, RT came out, and RT is Russia Today. We beat that into the ground, last episode. News from RT. Putin admitted that he talked to Trump during the election process. He says, oh yeah, I was in contact with Trump's people. Right? Now, why is that scandalous? Because Trump said, I don't talk to Putin. Right? Now, what's the second part of the scandalous story? There was 2 parts of the scandalous story, and it's a perfect example of what was wrong with the election. Trump said he did not talk to Putin. Trump lied. Putin said, I talked to Trump. Right? Now, people should be beating, why did Trump lie? Trump lied.
So you're choosing to believe, you're taking Putin's word over Trump's?
Oh, well, Trump admitted afterwards, yeah, Putin called me. It's like it's like when you break up with a girl. Oh, no, I didn't call her. She called me. When you're doing the booty call afterwards. Oh, no, I didn't go back to her. She came. You see what I'm saying?
So
now we're talking semantics.
In his mind, he only talks to somebody if he makes the call.
Right, yeah. And you go, oh, no, Putin called me. But here's the other part of it. Putin said he didn't care who won the election. He wants to deal with the Americans, which you have to take Putin at his word. Again, you'll know if it's true. He said he called Hillary over and over and over again. She wouldn't return his calls. Okay? So Putin said, I called Trump, I called Clinton because I wanted to talk to both of them about relations. Hillary Clinton wouldn't return my calls.
When she wouldn't take his calls, is that when he decided to start releasing her emails?
Apparently so. But she said, Putin hasn't been calling me. He's only been calling Trump. So she lied too. They both lied about Putin, and it was all about semantics. Trump lied. He's like, well, technically, I didn't call him. He called me. And then Hillary said, oh, no, I don't talk to Trump. Yeah, he tried to call you, and you wouldn't take his calls. As a former Secretary of State, you think that she would take his calls. But no, she cared more about getting elected so she could turn around and say, oh, no, Trump talks to Putin. I don't talk to Putin. Well, why don't you talk to Putin? As ex-Secretary of State, maybe you should try to improve relations with Russia instead of pissing him off more and trying to cause World War III. So they both lied. So we can get out, and again, as a libertarian for this election, or, next election, who knows, maybe I'll be a constitutionalist, right?
Maybe you'll be in with Glenn Beck.
I'll be with the Glenn Beck
dressed up in
the Blaze Party.
Revolutionary War.
I'll be wearing my my curly wig. What are they? Powdered wigs that the founding fathers used to wear?
Yeah.
They both lied, and that's why I said go ahead, vote for either one of them. And the Putin issue is exactly, to me, why it didn't matter who got elected. Hillary Clinton was a liar, and Donald Trump was a liar. And we got, and again, because the press is like, well, nobody else is running. At work, I had people actually say, I wish there was a third party running so we could vote for them. I mean, there's a ton of third people. You could vote for Evan McMullen, McDonald, whatever the hell his name was, and Gary Johnson, Jill Stein. You could vote for the guy that Glenn Beck voted for, the Constitutionalist. And again, it's 2 big liars doing whatever they can to be president. And like I said, there's probably going to be a trail of dead bodies. And again, Clinton doesn't stop. The day after she lost, I'm going to take a walk in the woods. Did you read this story?
No.
She wanted to take a walk in the woods and clear her head, and a regular mom came across her, and she said, Hillary Clinton is just like us, and she takes news hard, and she took a selfie and posted it to Facebook, right? And then a right-wing news outlet said, we're going to look this lady up. And here, it wasn't some random mom. It was like the head of the Democratic Party in the state of New Jersey, and she was doing it for PR to show, oh, hey, you know what I mean? Like the PR machine for the Clintons never stops. You know what I mean? It wasn't some random mom. taking a walk in the park. She was taking a walk with this random woman. Again, it's all about optics and PR. And that's why I'm like, you need to scrap it and tear it down and build it back up. Because all Donald Trump is another CEO. Fred Hunt, you just want to see cities burn? Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, I just, when you said Hillary Clinton took a walk through the woods, I thought this was going to be like a Vince Foster joke.
Well, but that's the whole thing. All those mysterious things, I'm not saying she did it, but I can see where people would be so stressed out because they're put in a bad situation where they want to kill themselves.
You remember Vince Foster?
Yeah.
Didn't they say he shot himself twice in the head? Or?
Yeah. Yeah, it was some... I can't remember if it was twice in his head, but it had to do something with, it was so preposterous. There's no way it could have happened that way. But then they're like, well, I guess it's unanswered questions. And let me go back.
Ron Brown also. Remember Ron Brown?
Oh, yeah.
Didn't he, die in a plane crash and then he shot himself in the head after the plane crash?
Yeah, it was something where... Let's put it this way. Part of the reason Michael Moore has, even if I don't agree with his politics, is he talks about how GM gutted Flint, okay? And my mom's sister, she died in Flint, okay? Under mysterious circumstances, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to talk about that, okay? Do you want to hear about the mysterious circumstances?
Yeah,
Did I tell you this?
I think you did, but I forget what the...
Okay, my aunt, I think it's far enough past. She died in Flint, Michigan, and my aunt had a lot of problems, okay? The week before she died, something happened with her...
And the reason that I'm smirking is because, not because your aunt died, but I remember at the time you telling me about the funeral or the wedding or whatever. Yeah. And you said her husband was like a fat Joey G.
Yeah.
That's why I'm laughing, not because...
Oh, no, that's fine. Well, let me tell the story real quick, because people are like, what the hell? Basically what happened is my aunt went crazy. I don't know if it had to do with the meds. She tried to kill her husband. She took a saw, tried to saw through the door, and she tried to kill him. And he was in the bedroom.
Once again, I'm laughing because of the fat Joey G.
Yeah,
I'm just picturing a fat Joey G trying to get away from her.
And he's a dopey loser. He's locked himself in the bedroom, and he's calling 911. Please come take her away, right? And at the end of the day, she never touched him, right? The police came, they took her to the mental ward, right, or did whatever they did to her, and then they sent her home. They said, oh, well, she's off her meds. That explains it. At the end of the day, she never touched him. You see what I'm saying?
But she was threatening him, right?
Oh, yeah. She was trying to cut through the door.
Yeah, that is true.
That is true.
At the end of the day, she didn't actually do any harm to him.
Right.
She wanted to.
She wanted to, but she couldn't get to him. Okay? So all they could get was, she's crazy, which she was. Okay? A week later, she died. And the official cause of death was sleep apnea. But I've heard whispers. Did he do her back in?
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Did he knock her off?
Yeah, did he knock her off because she tried, because after they sorted out her meds, they sent her back home, and, they're like, we love each other, and then magically she died of sleep apnea. You see what I'm saying? But I don't think, because of the crazy situation it was, I don't think they looked that hard into it. If it wasn't sleep apnea, it was something else, I got to get to lunch. They're looking at their watch. If it wasn't sleep apnea, that's the way life is, I got to get to lunch. You know what I mean? So, and I'm not saying your husband killed her, okay? I'm just saying he's not beyond reproach. That Making of a Murder, if you want to send a documentary crew up to Flint, Michigan, and check him out, that's fine. But I know what happened in Flint. You know what I mean? I have family up there, and I know that Michael Moore, I keep saying Roger Moore. from 007. I know Michael Moore, when he did that documentary and what's happened since, he is spot on about that, what happened in Flint, Michigan. Oh, this is killing me. Next prediction, Gary Johnson, 8% of the vote, Fred says, 3 electoral votes. Ted Coley says 9% of the vote, 0 electoral votes. We were both wrong about the percentages. You were right about the electoral votes. That was just a gimme to me. Yeah. And I really thought when he was polling at 11 that he was going to do better. And then I was reading articles that said, independent. Basically, what happens? Independent candidates run out of steam because number one, they run out of money. They don't have matching funds. And number two, the Democrats and Republicans say, don't waste your vote. Like, I read something on the Gary Johnson website that said, boy, all you Hillary supporters wasted your vote. Your candidate didn't win. Maybe you should have voted for Johnson. And their argument is if Hillary would have dropped out, they all would have voted for him, right? And of course, it's illogical, but he's trying to be as illogical as they are. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. If they all would have voted for me, I would have beat Trump, and all those people wasted their votes. Now, in a year or two, when somebody listens to this, they might say, you know what? Let's kill Fred Hunt because I'm sick of his mouth. Okay? Because Hillary Clinton was the greatest thing since sliced bread. Hillary Clinton, when she farted, it came out rose smelling and stuff like that. Okay, we still have another prediction. We still have more predictions. Do you want to do more predictions?
Yeah.
Fred Hunt says, Senate and House majorities. Republican in the House. I said it was going to be Republican in the Senate.
Wait a minute. What did you say?
I said that the Senate and House were both going to be Republican majorities, and nothing would get done. Because I thought Hillary was going to win. And then I thought the Republicans were going to take the House and Senate.
Well, you're right about that.
I'm finally right. I'm right about something. They took the House and they took the Senate. Okay? I said if Hillary wins, Obama would be appointed to the Supreme Court if it's still open. Well, guess what? It is still open. So I was right about that.
Do you think Trump will appoint Obama?
I don't think Trump's going to appoint Obama. So I am 100% wrong about that. Okay? But I thought that it was a possibility. Now, thinking back on it, now that Trump has won, and now they sat down with Obama, again, Obama was presidential. He took the high road. He invited Trump to the thing, and he said, George Bush was very nice to Obama, and we're going to try and do this as seamlessly as possible. And I even heard Al Gore, when he dropped the appeals about Florida, he said, at the end of the day, America's greatest nation in the world, blah, 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 blah. We don't have bloody coups in America. Shots aren't fired. There aren't riots in the street when people are elected. Well, guess what? There's still riots in the street when Trump was elected, which is the irony of what Al Gore said. You know what I mean? They're basically burning Portland down, which doesn't make any sense. Why are they burning? Is
that still going on?
Yeah. Why in the hell did they pick Portland to burn down? You know what I mean? Why didn't they burn down some other hippie paradise? But anyhow, Ted Coley said the Republicans were going to take the House. You said it was going to be a tie.
Yeah.
In the Senate. And it's funny because I think the Senate was 51-49. Is that right?
Yeah, I think it's 51-48, and then is there one independent?
Oh, you know what? Yeah, there was a 51-48 and then one independent, yes. So you were close. I was right. I'm going to gloat. I was right. I was right. But this is the funny thing, okay? You said this in September, and I read it today. I read it today in, I believe it's The Blaze. You can look it up. Ted Coley said, if Donald Trump wins, look for, and I read it today in the Blaze, look for Donald Trump to appoint conservative Ted Cruz to the Supreme Court. And I read the article today. It said that Ted Cruz is on Donald Trump's short list because Ted Cruz came out in September and said, he didn't say begrudgingly, I'm paraphrasing, I begrudgingly endorse Donald Trump.
See, and like I said, maybe he won't, appoint him to the Supreme Court. But
right.
My thought was that Donald Trump, I've heard that, air quotes, nobody likes Ted Cruz in the Senate.
Right.
He's a senator, right?
Yes, yeah. Senator Ted Cruz, yeah.
And I looked at it like maybe Ted Cruz would be such a pain in the ass in the Senate that he would hide him in the Supreme Court. You know what I mean? So that maybe Ted Cruz would obstruct things that Donald Trump wants to get done. You know what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you're saying.
So maybe he would appoint him to the Supreme Court to get him out of the
way.
Yeah.
But Ted, you were right. And again, you said a tie.
Well, how many people are on this short list? Did it say?
There were 3 people.
Just 3?
Yeah.
And he's one of them?
Yeah. And one of the names was somebody I didn't know. And then it's not
Mike Lee, is it?
No. And then the third name, it was somebody I know, but I don't remember. Because the next article, because I saw Ted Cruz's name, it was 3 names. Ted Cruz was one of them. And then the next article, it blew my mind. It said Donald Trump is seriously thinking of blank as the ambassador to the Czech Republic.
Are you asking me to say?
Yeah. Who do you think would be ambassador to the Czech Republic?
Ambassador to the Czech Republic. Wait a minute. Don't tell me. Melania?
No, his first wife, Ivanka.
Oh.
I guess Ivanka wants to be, because she loves her homeland, and I believe it's the Czech Republic. Maybe it's...
Yeah, I think you're right. Melania is from what, like Yugoslavia?
Yeah, Serbia or Montenegro or somewhere in there. But it was either the Czech Republic or Slovakia. Oh, you know what? No, I think I'm wrong. I think Ivanka wants to be ambassador to the Czech Republic. Ivanka is from Slovakia.
This is funny. Some guy called Rush Limbaugh and said Trump should appoint Hillary as ambassador to Libya.
Well, yeah, that would be funny. And now he's backing off whether he wants to prosecute her because he wants a smooth transition and blah, blah, blah. So... Ted, do me a huge favor. Pull that blind back, would you? Can I peek out the window? I need to see how much light there is. Okay, Ted. We are going to have to cut this short today because I have to get to my grandfather's before it's dark.
I don't think you're going to make it.
I know. This is the prediction episode. The only other thing I wanted to say was who died this week? Leonard Cohen?
Yeah.
Did you know any of his music? Did you like any of his music?
I didn't know any of his music.
Okay.
I was I think I just heard coming home Friday night I was listening to Larry Elder.
Okay.
And he was talking about him.
Yeah.
I believe it was Larry Elder.
The reason I know him is he was one of the main voices on the Natural Born Killer soundtrack by Oliver Stone. And he was awesome. He also was in, not him, but his music. He was also in a cult classic, I know you'll get a kick out of this, called Pump Up the Volume. It's all about a pirate radio broadcaster. And he's also in that movie, one of his songs, and is covered on the soundtrack. So I'm familiar with him from a few soundtracks, but I don't know him from the 60s and 70s. I missed the boat on that, but that's going to be the song of the day. The song of the day is for this episode because all we did was basically hash out predictions and hash out the election, is called The Future by Leonard Cohen. That's his name, correct? And that's from the Natural Born Killer soundtrack. So, what we're going to do is I want to talk about the future of Beacon of Speech. Okay? And I want to put this down on tape so I don't have an excuse. 3 times we've tried to go to video and I have mucked it up. Okay? My goal is by Thursday to have it where we're doing live webcasting on video. It'll be me, you, and Joe. We're going to aim for Wednesday or Thursday. Anything else that I want to talk about, we're going to have Joe. We're going to have Joe come back for the inaugural one. That's why I want it working, but I wanted to push this through. We'll talk more about the election with Joe Kaufman. Do you want to add anything before we go to video? And I'm worried about video and I'm not paying attention.
No, I don't think I have anything to add.
Ted Coley, I apologize for 1 week off. I think this is the maddest I've been at the beginning of an episode. I apologize. I want to be happier. I don't want to talk about an election for an hour. I want to talk about how Joe Kaufman met Coolio.
Yes.